MedBix webcast is a new kind of healthcare media channel to break the silo mentality and foster interdisciplinary thinking. Our mission is to fill that gap and to create a curiosity through different lenses, tapping the passion that guided the historical figures in medicine and bringing present-day groundbreaking research to the front lines. We interview physicians and leaders in the industry about present-day healthcare challenges on our live programming. Just you'll see me in a second. I'm trying to come down there on the main stage. There's a little bit of a new things are going on here. Okay, welcome to the MedBix webcast. This is Ramana and I'm Raju. I'm the host. My music is still going on. Let me turn off the music. Sorry about that. I have is a new technology platform we have, so a little bit of a challenges. Okay, let me, before Steve Jobs died, he used, what is called, he was reading a book called Autobiography of Yogi. In that book is, Yogi, I don't know the actual factual process, but what he mentions in that book is that Yogi mentions that he met several yogis who lived a long years, like 150, 200 years, that kind of things, if they've been living there a long time. So that is one of the famous books. He was one of his last books. Steve Jobs was reading about the longevity of a book of Yogi, autobiography of a Yogi, is a very runaway bestseller in this country. After that, actually, I came from then I want to tell you a story. It's very interesting for the guests that are coming in. I'm from a smallest village, a remote village in India. It's just corners, very, very small corner of India. The village has a 2,000 population. Right across our village, at the end of the village, we had one yogi. He was in a rotunda. He was locked in a rotunda. It's completely, there is no doors. He has to come out. If he wants to come out, he has to take a ladder from inside and come out. It's a small room. It's just a basic room. It's fascinatingly small room. And then amazingly small room. And there is no air conditioning, nothing there. It's just a place to sit down. And he's in a constant meditative state. Constant meditative state. That surprises, we used to think then there is nothing, water is not good, there is no water, there is a small pump there, but there is no food coming in, food going out, nothing, there is nothing activity going on. We spied on him. In fact, as a kids in high school, we spied on him, nothing is going on. It has always bothered me as a scientist, as a physicist, how can you define medicine and physics and science? How can you live without energy, without taking any food or water? So it's been a long time. It took me 50 years to understand this process. It is possible. When a lot of times the doctors doing the EKG studies, electrocardiogram for the heart, one of the things they did not pay a whole lot of attention is heart rate variability. That heart rate variability, that is some of these people who are into the samadhi, they call meditative state. These are, the heartbeat, blood pressure, digestive system, all of them are autonomic function tests, autonomic systems. That means they go automatically, they do the functions automatic. You don't have to, there is no input from you. The functions are all done automatic. But there are certain people in the world, there are the yogis, that's what they did. They control the autonomic functions. They control the blood pressure. They drop down the blood pressure. They drop down the heart rate. And then the energy consumption of them is extremely minimal. If you take one banana, they can live the whole week, probably. So it is possible. How did you find out? When you did the heart rate variability, they saw actually stunningly some of these things in a meditation. People who practice meditation can control the autonomic functions. That is really peer-reviewed studies are done on this. Emory University in Atlanta, my hometown, then Boston Mass General Hospital. They did a study together. So there is a ample evidence of that autonomic influence is there. The mind influence, mind over matter they call, but it is autonomic functions can be controlled. That is a. So my guest, she's coming from my hometown, and my lived in long time in Atlanta, as Atlanta, Georgia. So her name is Ann Powers. She is a naturopathy doctor. She was been practicing several things. One of the things she's doing is qualitative electroencephalography and is studying the brain mapping. you know when you think about psychedelics, I was reading about a lot about psychedelics nowadays because of a lot of new research is coming up. They say the regions of the brain talk each other very only when the time when people are on the psychedelics. So that's really, brain is still a very mysterious organ. It's a very complex organ. We have 100 billion neurons, and it is a very complex and trillion connections. Is a larger than a universe itself. So let us talk about this. This is a but there is a comprehensive way the brain works, in a very simple way. It works, understand things, seeing things, those kind of things. So let us see. Let me bring my guest, the chief guest. Her name is Ann Powers from Atlanta, Georgia. She is a naturopathy doctor. Let me bring her. Welcome, Ann Powers, right? Welcome
Yes,
to my big
hi.
webcast, Anna,
So
right?
good to be
I'm
here.
saying Anna Powers. Welcome to the Medbix webcast.
Thank you.
Tell me your
Very happy
background
to
a little bit, if you don't mind, a little bit of your journey to this, what you're doing now.
talk about what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
Um,
talk about your journey from Savannah to from where do you from, and how did you end up in Atlanta, Georgia?
oh wow. Well, I'll give you the shorter version because we'd
Short
be here for
version.
a long time.
Yeah.
um, so hi, I grew up in Savannah and I had a pretty unhealthy childhood from rheumatic fever to Guillain-Barré to an ulcer to chronic headaches and GI issues, all before I was 18. And then I met a naturopath when I was 25, and she helped me with my health dramatically. And so she inspired me to move into this field. And it's had several iterations, but in 2014, I completed my naturopathic program, and I've been seeing patients ever since then here in Georgia, in Roswell, partly at Longevity Health Center for the last 7. So that's the nutshell of it, and it's been an amazing journey to be able to see how much the body can heal when you take off the toxic load and you give it the nutrition that it needs and the support that it needs, like doing a brain map and followed by neurofeedback.
So you give a shorter version, very good. But let me. So you're in the longevity. Let us talk about longevity. You're talking about what is the secret of some people live with the blue zone diet they call, and your nutritionist also that came to know about you. So tell us a little bit longevity. What is the secret of living longer? I also need to learn about that. Tell me about that.
So, yeah, you mentioned the blue zones, and of course, there's been a lot of research on that. And one of the things that I really love about that research is the aspect of community. So we can eat all the so-called right foods, and of course, there's a lot of conflicting information about what that is. But when you eat it with with the community, then you have a lot more longevity than when people are uh, doing things by themselves in isolation and stressed about what they're eating and stressed at their jobs and stressed with their families. So for me, the number one thing is to minimize stress, to minimize anxiety, to work on our mindset. all the other things, the nutrition and decreasing toxic load and meditation and yoga, those are all really important. And if we don't manage our stress, then we're going to have high cortisol levels. We're going to have tension in our body. We're going to have a suppressed immune system from that stress. So to me, that's the one of the major keys of longevity is learning how to manage our stress load in our society, and be grateful for what is working in our lives.
It may not be relevant, but I'm going to ask you the question. The stress. The stress is within the sometimes within ourselves, and the second part is the systems. Like technology, the political systems, and then all these things can cause a lot of stress, and then environment. How do you respond to that? And how do you? It is everything is going against you. How do you respond to that, and how do you make that stress response minimal? It's easy to say that, but it's everything is falling apart for you, and how do you do that? And is there any technique that you can suggest to simple people like me who get stressed out all the times? That tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, I can speak to it because it's something I struggle with. So, right, it's right next to my zone of genius is my struggle, and so you know, um, I feel like as people talk about it, there's been books written about it. That gratitude, it's amazing how quickly our attitude can change when we look at what's working in our life. And I know there's research that's been done to it can lower our cortisol response. It can improve our heart rate variability. So that's one of the easiest things that we can do. And then breath work. There's all different types of breathing that we can do, whether it's the box breathing where you breathe in for 5 breaths, hold for 5 breaths, breathe out for 5 breaths, and hold for 5 breaths, and keep doing that. There's Heart Math from the Heart Math Institute, which is trains you how to improve your heart rate variability. So some of those things require additional tools. You have to buy a device that you put on your ear for the heart rate variability. And,
Stress is
you know,
always.
yeah, yeah. So those are, I think, a few things that we can do. And of course, one of the services I provide is qEEG and neurofeedback. And there's certain brainwave patterns that we can see if someone having a stress response.
Before you go into that one, if I ask you just extend that talk, yeah, I will talk. Definitely, we talk about that. Before that, minimalistic living. We have saw a lot of greed and a lot of what wants more and more and more and more things are. I think iPhone 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That is this is a what is this minimal as a society? Can we do this all collectively? Enough is enough. This is too much of a stress for us. It's not solving the problems, it's actually creating problems. As a society, as a collectively, can we, you think that there is a movement that something like that, people like you would be in the future, would be leaders like that happens? You think minimalistic living is going to be in the
Mhm.
front lines?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a level of stress that comes with all of that, paying for it and learning new things and not having space for it in your house. There's for sure minimalism and focusing more on experiences and quality time with our loved ones and service to others. Those are intangibles that have a huge impact on our own stress system and others. When we're looking at how can we provide for someone else, it's amazing what happens. It's amazing what we see. What we focus on, we see more of, right? That's how the brain is designed, the
Mhm.
reticular
Yes.
activating system of the brain. You learn a new word and all of a sudden you hear it. A friend buys a new car and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. It's been there the whole time. Our brain was screening it out. So when you start focusing on what you're grateful for, where can you serve, and less on what you need to buy. I think a lot can be done for less stress. We need less. We need less money. We aren't going to stress about it as much.
That's
So,
beautiful.
mhm.
Beautiful
Thank you.
advice. Grateful to the what you have, and also the what the passions you like, and all those things, or
Yeah.
what things that you love is just to focus on that rather than looking at
Yeah.
friends' cards. That's a focus on that. It is a very great advice. But
Thank you.
another thing you do is a brain is a very complex organism. We don't understand it. Anybody says that they understand it, even we are far long away from understanding the brain.
Mhm.
It is one of the world, that universe itself, and tell us that what do you do with the relationships and the complexities that arise from the brain is mother daughter relationships, and husband wife relationships, and divorces, and all these things. There's a lot of complexities there in the brain. How do we get this in order and see that simplicity? What is the brain wants to do, actually? What is the brain's goal is? Can you extend it, you, because you see a lot of patients? What is the brain goal for the body?
Well, to survive is the main
Survive.
goal.
Yeah,
Yeah, at the physiological level, and then who inhabits the body probably has little loftier goals. Um, so, so the question is, what is the brain's main goal? And to survive.
survive.
And I think, and but it's a tool. It's a tool for who inhabits these bodies. And there's so much that is possible with our brains when we use it and when we allow it. Meaning, you can tap into intuition, you can tap into even, I mean, crazy stuff like remote viewing, and there's research on that. There's a lot of scientific research on that. So the obviously the biggest thing is survival, and then I can't imagine that life, universe, whoever went to all the effort to create these magnificent bodies that can do so many things to just survive. So my belief system is that we are here to expand and to grow and to serve and to make the world a better place.
Absolutely. That survival is one of them. I think it is a more bigger purpose. One of them is remote viewing. Actually, I attended in Stanford. There is a remote viewing actually installed by the Defense Department one time, and then he was the author. I met him actually. I had a picture with him, and he wrote a book on the remote viewing. And they were almost 80 to 90% of the time they were correct actually. So it's something about the brain, a lot of telepathy and all these things. My friend is another one, is doing some kind of a telepathy work. She's a scientist, she's an engineer, in fact, in the season. So there's a lot of things going on, and we don't understand the brain understand 100%. There's a mystery there. I think, as you say, that it is a beyond the survival. It is something trying to understand the the beyond consciousness, maybe beyond our lives, what is there. So tell us, how do you what is the patients come to you, what kind of problems they come to you, and how do you address that problem?
So they come for all kinds of things, whether it's anxiety, attention, ADD, um, this inability to regulate, um, trouble sleeping, and I mean, just the list goes on. But I would say those are the primary ones for brain map and neurofeedback. And what a brain map does is it looks at the brainwave activities, it looks at the brainwaves, and what we have, since it's been around since the 1960s, and so we now have a database of symptoms and brainwaves. So it's a correlative science. So oftentimes we see certain brainwaves associated with certain symptoms. So, for example, if we see theta brainwave, which is the daydreamy, creative type state. We see that with a lot of musicians and artists. If that is high in the posterior region of the brain, so back here, the parietal and occipital area, then that can often relate to anxiety or poor memory issues. Or if someone has high beta wave, which beta is the fastest wave, we recruit that to learn new things and for concentration. If it's too high in the occipital area, then there's a lot for alpha and beta, both of those, there could be a lot of rumination. So those are just examples of how when we see certain patterns that correspond to the symptoms that they're coming to us for, then that can guide us on what neurofeedback protocol to use. And neurofeedback is a way to um, enhance or inhibit certain brain waves and enhance certain brain waves. So, in that example, with the beta being too high in that occipital area, we would hook sensors or electrodes up to that. We're not putting anything in the brain. We're putting sensors on to measure what's coming off. And anytime that beta wave that's already too high, when it comes down, they're watching a movie and the movie continues to play. But if that beta wave goes up while they're watching the movie, then the movie goes dark and the brain says, hey, I want to see what's going on in that movie. And it will go back to what it was doing before. It's an algorithm, so it's not quite that simplistic, but it will, we eventually capture that behavior to where the beta waves become more normalized. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to all be in the normal area, but just even a slight shift can have a dramatic impact on someone's experience. So that's when I was talking earlier, that is one of the ways that I was able to help my brain settle, because I definitely was wired to be on the anxious side, and I still am, but how it's managed is much easier because of the tools that I've used with patients, I used on myself. Does that answer your question?
Oh, absolutely. I am friends with another doctor. Actually, one of the he was trained in Emory University, where you're at. Is a one of the psychiatrist, Arsha Wahab. Dr. Arsha Wahab was is a very good friend of mine. Is not, I'm not a client or anything. That is a friend of mine.
Mhm.
Um, he introduced me neurofeedback. Actually, he mentioned about neurofeedback. It came from the NASA. Actually, he said that the NASA invented this neurofeedback because there is so many tasks there, and then they want to do, the astronauts has to be focused on a single task. That neurofeedback will train them how to focus, and it increase the focus. It's a very, they were surprised how successful that was. That's why they brought it back to the neurofeedback came from NASA itself. So in the space, there's one of the space benefits of the space program was the neurofeedback. So you do neurofeedback. That's what you're saying, right?
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
neurofeedback. That is a very effective. If it works, some people have a divine feelings. They said it is really some of the, it's still mystery to some extent, but it does train the brain how to move between the anxiety alpha waves, beta waves, and theta waves. It can train you to go between these all the waves, and then you can live comfortably because you need beta waves to critical thinking. So your thinking is going high, but there are times you need to relax. If you don't relax, you get into anxiety and depression. So you need to, brain has to turn into the theta and beta wave, alpha waves. So that neurofeedback is a very powerful, powerful instrument. I thought in the beginning it is a cuckoo, but I tell you, after explained to me, I was fascinated by that, and I implemented it. In fact, and I started selling that. I set up a brain cafe into the doctor's offices. I need to talk with you about the business part of it later on. Brain cafe is a new kind of a concept with the virtual reality and a neurofeedback combination. You can
Mhm.
you can, you can change the brain structure, brain plasticity in slowly in 8 weeks or 10 weeks. I was sold with him when he said that something. He said that neurofeedback has that power to change that, because I used to think, what is the power of a talking? You see, he told me one thing. I don't want to. You can tell me more about it. It's not me. So actually, you use a neurofeedback to treat patients. Is a really wonderful. Tell us a little bit about it, if you don't mind. neurofeedback, how it is working, how many, what is the program we do, and the neurofeedback?
So how it works is we're basically setting up a protocol to encourage brainwaves that are too low and inhibit brainwaves that are too high according to our database. So we now have, there's several different databases that are used with thousands of different maps or data in there. So we know what the brain currently looks like, and we know where we want it to be. And so we create a protocol for that corresponds to the brain map and the symptoms that the patient is wanting to address. So we'll take focus as this example. So focus, it depends on the map, but as an example, focus often looks like too little beta in the prefrontal cortex here and too high of theta, which is that daydreamy creative state. So you have a lot of daydreamy state and not very much concentration focus state. So you could see how that would make it hard to go to school or function in life. And so we hook up electrodes, in this case here, and we inhibit those beta brain waves, and we encourage we inhibit the theta brain waves and encourage the beta brain waves in the prefrontal cortex. And we do that. Sessions are typically 30 minutes at a time, and we typically do anywhere from 20 to 40 sessions, up to 60. And each session, we're just taking a little bit of ground. It's not like one session and you're done, but we'll take a little bit of ground, meaning we're looking at the trend. Does the beta go up and does the theta go down? And if we even just get one time where that happens, that session is considered a success. And so we, over time, we're shifting that ratio of the theta to beta brainwaves, and people will report, wow, I'm able to focus more. I'm able to do my homework without prompting. Or, moms will say, oh my gosh, I didn't have to beg my child 10 times to do his homework or her homework. So I think that kind of answers the question of how
Absolutely.
long, how many sessions. Great.
I will validate that for you. In fact, those databases you're talking about is a very strong mathematical background, mathematical and statistical backgrounds there. They have. It is a very Fourier transformation is a very well written, well solid on the solid grounds. These analyses are, because that they are all from a strong mathematics, and they all came from a very strong mathematical background. So that is really analysis. We, as I was mentioning about you, about that my village in town, EKG took almost 100 years to find out there is something hiding behind that EKGs, which is how they control autonomic functions. And the same thing in EEG, in the brain waves. So a lot of things are hidden. We got these databases, that the brain mapping technology and brain mapping analysis can bring that things. No question about that. I'm a strong believer in that. Mathematics has a lot to contribute. There's databases has a lot to say to these kind of things. And
Mhm.
and I wanted to ask you one more thing: is if you see a theta wave state, a present achievable state, okay, some calm state, can you is there any way that you have technique that you can repeat that state again? You can induce that state second time, third time, or what are the things that you followed that they calm down? You made them calm down with the neurofeedback, whatever it is. Can you? What are the things you learn to repeat, bring that back, that state?
So typically, with when we're doing the sessions, people will report like, oh, I felt better for a few hours after doing the neurofeedback session. And they'll say that for maybe after the fifth session. And then maybe a few sessions later, they'll say, oh, it lasted for a day. And then they'll say it lasted for 2 days. So over time, we're retraining the brain and I believe we're creating new neuronal networks to have that state be more common and more accessible. So eventually, before we're complete, they are staying in that state ongoing unless there's, they need to, if they're in school, they're not going to be zoned out in a meditative state. But overall, like I just completed uh, sessions with a man in his 60s, and we were doing it for anxiety and uh, just being more irritable. And he was like, "Yeah, I feel like my old laid back self again." So it's not temporary. Over time, if we once somebody is maintaining that state and they say, "Yeah, I've since the last session, I've been calmer, I've been less anxious, I've been able less irritable," then we just need to do 10 sessions to lock that in, and then they're done. Unless there's some traumatic event, physical or emotional, then that's their new state. So they don't have to. There's no tune-ups, or uh, it doesn't go away. As far as I've been doing this for since 2008, and no one's called me and said, "Oh my gosh, all my neurofeedback trainings, but come undone." And I'm pretty accessible to find. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did answer it very well. Actually, you're doing very great job. Let me ask you. Let me talk about subject now. So, I'm going to extend it. This is actually my present. I do a presentation. After that, I come back and ask you how do you that they can reach you. But here is a presentation about the previous guest, Dr. John Huff, is supposed to be there. He's an emergency room doctor. I prepared for that little bit of how the hospitals and the doctors' conflicts are, and how do you solve through the quantum computers. I'm going to talk about that for 20 minutes. But that the thing is that Dr. Ruff called me, actually apologized that he was confused about the dates and times. But say anyway, that's fine. I have a wonderful guest now, Anna Powers. She did really educated us quite a bit about the brain. So I'm going to present the topic about and also she likes quantum physics. So this is going to be interesting topic for her. And Anna Powers from Atlanta, Georgia, my hometown. So I'm going to talk about I don't know, the computer is extremely slow. It is okay. There is a world in the hospitals. They call the in a hospital suits versus scrubs. Because management versus, basically they're talking about management versus doctors. Doctors have complaints. They complain. They think inefficiencies in the management, but there is some hidden complexity there that the people don't understand, the hidden complexity. I'm going to explain that hidden complexity. Even the management cannot do. Is the defense. I have Optima CEO. Everybody was attacking him. Wayne Decker, not the present CEO. Previous CEO. His name is Wayne Decker. Dr. Decker. He's a doctor actually. Everybody's attacking him. How bad these CEOs are and all those things. Then I defended him. He has given a system, and he needs to be worked within that constraints, and he can do certain things, and being put them as a villains always is not a good idea. So this is a little bit tells you why there is a complexity in the system. So it starts with for example, I will start with the example of this my this is so slow. This is something going on at the computer. um, just a minute. I went too far. That is a second. I need to move on to some other place to do the podcast. But anyway, again, is just, yeah. It is a Coco Chanel loves pearls, right? Coco Chanel loved pearls, and what she did was, uh, why there is a lot of things going on there. I don't know a little bit, but Coco Chanel loved pearls. So that's why I'm talking about pearls. Is how the complexity involved in the pearls. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So if you do- she goes to a party, and then there's pearls, and you drop in the jewelry box. When you wear it, it's a beautiful and simple, elegant and simple. And when you drop in the jewelry box, the complexity comes out, because if you drop for 1 billion years every day, same You cannot repeat that pattern again. 1 billion years. You can do that to draw to get the same pattern the way it falls on the jewelry box. You wanted to get back the same pattern. It takes a 1 billion years. Even if you don't come close. This looks very simple, but it's very strange. That is a because the reason is I am the reason is for another example I give to you. You have a piece of paper, white paper like this. The one in the then I carry this paper, and if you calculate a little bit, the number of ways you can do origami like a bird that you can do through a Japanese structure, very nice and well done. I can do that actually. I learned it. But if you can also complete when you crumple this paper, the way it can crumple, the number of ways you can count in the computation wise is a billions of times. There is no computer can compute the number of ways it can fold. That is, no fastest computer can come close to that. So, so why I'm talking about all these Coco Chanel and piece of papers? The reason is healthcare is a complex. Healthcare logistics are very complex things. You know, our brains are actually the reason is we don't think exponential thinking. Our brains are a linear world. Linear world means step by step. We think what is the number A, the step number one, step number two. So our brains are trained to be linear thinking. The early stages of and actually when our brain is very slow to learn, and then the end stages is overwhelming. I feel that all the time. It's overwhelming. Limited exposure to the daily life. Certain things you don't see plants that eat the bugs. You're not exposed to it because but plants can eat bugs. Those kind of things we are not exposed. Our optimism bias, everything I'm doing, I have a less problems. People think that everybody has more problems than less problems I have, is an optimism bias. These are all biases come from the brain. So there is all these things, complexities. Human brain is cannot understand complexities. We're not trained to understand complexities. That's why we need a different kind of mechanism to do that. Sorry about that. My computer is extremely slow. I'm going to move on to the tomorrow, a different location. It makes but so what is the hospital logistics are extremely complex. Balancing patients, that they need scheduling, they need medications, they need caretakers, and the staff, for example, staff utilization is one of the most complex things. You have nurses, doctors, janitorial staff, medical assistants. You combine their staffing, utilization. Where else you can use the maximum out of that their time. Resource allocation, MRI centers, CT scans, imaging, surgery rooms. How do you use the best? And the pricing. What is the best pricing to come up with? These are all complexity, immense complexity. It's not that easy. So it's not just a CEO problem, is some management is coming up with a problem. This is a serious problem, in fact. So what they did was, I tell you for example, I give you an example of that staff utilization. If you have a hospital of 500 employees, okay, and then three shifts a day, right? Hospital has to work 24 hours a day, 8 hours, three shifts. The choices, the combinations that you could do with the staffing, 3 to the power of 93 quintillion times. Not a million, not a billion, not trillion, way beyond that many choices. Our brain cannot understand it. Our brain is limited because we really understand the linear thinking. Is a 3 quintillion times is the choices are there. It's just beyond the comprehension. There's no computer can compute that 3 quintillions. Only the fastest computer on the planet, the Summit computer in Oak Ridge, can compute 3 quintillion. It takes 7 days to compute that process. 500 employees, one hospital to give us scheduling, complete freedom to match their needs, come back with a real scheduling process. So total choices are it is just beyond our comprehension. So I'm just giving you one example of that. How difficult is that those scheduling thing is. Scheduling is not that as simple as people think. It is a very complex subject. So then I gave you just the 500 employees. Yeah, there's actually I competed with a chat GPT. You guys are interested in a AI guys. You check it out, that number. That is absolutely true. They said that is a so much chat GPT said that beyond comprehension, there's no computer can do it. So then hospitals are bombarded by electronic medical records from different things. There is Epic, there is EMR, doctor's EMR, this, that, all the data coming from several EMRs, electronic medical records. Then medical imaging is becoming a huge thing. And now it's the maximum use of every cancer, everything that you use medical imaging quite a bit. That data, wearable data, everybody is wearing a data, Fitbits, this, that, watches on all nonsense. Everybody has it. All this data and pricing, all these are coming to the hitting the hospital systems, the healthcare systems. They have an immense number complexity. The complexity is that's not these regular computers cannot do it. But how can you solve this problem? You need to go quantum. Only way you can do is the quantum computers can solve this problem. That is okay. So sorry, that's my computer is slowing actually. So there's a financial constraints, staffing solutions, increased regulations. All of them are technology, the advances. Like this, the one we have a new system. It is all causes a lot of stresses and complexities. We are complex world we live in. So, so that's why burnout is 80% of the healthcare leaders are burnout. Not only doctors burn out, healthcare leaders, CEOs are burnout. There is a lot of burnout from the CEOs. They need a depression medication. So everybody is going through this tremendous pressure. But what is the solution for this? Actually, I came much fast. I went too far. Sometimes this. So there is a solution. We can go quantum computers. Yeah, maybe quantum computers could be a great solution because I don't know that I cannot take that out. That thing is not okay. But anyway, that is a quantum computers actually can solve the problem. What is quantum computer? I'm going to talk about it. IBM Cleveland Clinic started this program. First, they started with a simple one, scheduling problem. Patient scheduling optimization, not even a staff. They're not worried. Patient, what are the things that you could do with the quantum computers? You can optimize the scheduling. You need somebody needs to come to ride, come home, and then get the appointment, go and pick up the medications, go home. Are they doing all the scheduling for the patient itself? You need a quantum computer. So Cleveland Clinic they made a partnership with the IBM quantum computers. They use a very powerful chip. It's a qubit, and I will explain to you what is a quantum computer is. Just a, just a layman explanation. I'm going to give it to you guys. People who a lot of doctors ask me what is a quantum computers are. So Cleveland Clinic started already optimization of the patient's very small problem they're trying to address with the quantum computers. So what is I'm going to give you a very simple way to explain the quantum computers. If you have a maze and there is a cheese in the end, and there is a mouse that what it does to find a cheese, it goes to the first step and then hit the wall, come back, keep on trying all the step by step, one by one. It does right. That's a by the time it will find the eventually it find the cheese. So go through the trial and error and hit the walls, come back and go again. She will eventually find the cheese. That's a classical way of doing things. We all linear what we do. That's a linear classical computer thinking. The classical computers do that part. They keep on trying things. Quantum is changes entirely different. You don't even know. We don't even know understand it 100% of the way it does. So this mouse becomes a ghost. It not only a ghost, it becomes a several ghosts. It is all the ghosts become all possible paths. It takes all possible paths at once and then find the cheese. Could come back in time and fix the shortest distance to the cheese. So the mouses become a ghost mouses, and they become all possible paths, every possible path, every all million trillion possible paths the type wants. Don't have to go step by step, and then they achieve the see the cheese, and that is a quantum system. That is what is the quantum system is. Is in layman terms I'm explaining, is not, I don't want to go into so, but that is what the difference between the classical and the quantum system is. So yeah, okay. So there are two things that when anybody says quantum computer, quantum system, we need to remember these two things they're talking about. When they say quantum, these two things are very important to understand. Superposition. Superposition is superposition is a Indian mythology. I'm from India. In Hindu religion, the Lord Shiva is a both man and woman same time. it's, it's a very combined view. We pray that he is a man and woman same time. So you have a system like the ball is a blue and red same time. It just is not a counterintuitive thought, but it is what it is. Entanglement is comes out of the entanglement is the main thing actually. Superposition comes out of it, but entanglement is like two twin sisters. They're separated from a long distance, and they feel each other sometimes. It's not a real, but I'm giving you that somebody feels pain in the stomach, the other girl feels this thing. The twins can feel that. Remote viewing, Yana Powers is talking about, that kind of influence is there. Entanglement is two, see, in the particles, whether it's real in the human size level, but in the particle level, they're all true. There's two things that happens in the particle levels or micro level, superposition and entanglement. These are the two characteristics of the quantum physics. So you have to, these are, when anybody says quantum, that means superposition. They're talking about entanglement. These are two things. Now I'm going to explain the superposition a little bit more closely. It is a little tricky. A lot of people think misunderstand. Entanglement is like, entanglement is two sisters that say two twins. They're separated from each other, but they feel each other. Not only they're separated by one city or by other city. Particles can go billions of miles. They can feel each other. So one particle is here up and spin, the other particle is spin down. They without communicating. There's no known communication. We know they influence each other. That is called a quantum entanglement. They can be billion miles apart on the process. So that is a quantum entanglement, and the so it's very slow, and sorry about that. I'm in the Silicon Valley Technology, Silicon Valley Center. We have to really. I'm going to talk with the management about it, and otherwise I got to get my own system here. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example of superposition. What is it, that quantum? One of the characteristics of the superposition, very simple terms. You have a child. He takes your dad's shoes and then put in your mom's shoes and put in the one box, and then you put the other shoe in another box, right? Just a child's play. So this is a superposition is that is this is a if you open the box number one, box number two, there's two shoes. The left shoe is in the you put a different randomly. You put a one shoe in the one box, one shoe in the other box. That's very simple process. So dad comes and then check it out, and then um, he can open the box number one. He can open the box number one. Then if he found the left shoe, he knows on the other box is the right shoe. Automatic. That is a correlation. That's not a quantum. That's a correlation they call. Because one is the left side. You see that you found the left side. Automatically, you can guess the second box has the right shoe. That's a guessing. Is not a quantum guessing. It's just a is a common thing. It is a classical thing. It is just automatically that the second one is the second one is the right foot is there. Opposite thing. So, but that is not a quantum. That is what is a quantum is very different. I'm going to explain to you that is a quantum is. Okay. Now, quantum is the shoe you put in one box. It is a both left and right shoe same time. Superposition. And the right side is also the shoe is both left and right. They exist the same time. It's beyond our comprehension. Don't know. Don't ask me how they do it. It is a ghost. It's a ghost kind of image. It is a both left shoe and right shoe exist the same time inside the box. Right hand side, same thing. It exists both left shoe, right shoe in the box. The moment you observe, the moment you open the box number one, it assumes one of the shoe, left or right, without your influence. There is no influence from you. People think that is a free will. There is no free will. It is a free will is you are not choosing anything. Nature decides you what that shoe is going to be, left shoe or right shoe. So if it is a left shoe, the other one is automatically right shoe. So it doesn't until you open it. It's proven beyond the doubt. It's experimentally proven. They won the Nobel Prize for this. You cannot, you cannot, you cannot until you open that box. It exists in both states, both the left and right shoe at the same time. That's a very strange and counterintuitive idea for us. So that is called superposition. So all the quantum particles, all the particles exist in that position, in all positions at the same time. So so that is the you have no influence on that one. So that is a superposition. Then let me go to the next one. So quantum and so you understand the superposition is it is a one, it is automatically one assumes left or right shoe without influence of yours. You're not putting there. Is nature picks up one of the shoes, left side or right side. Not a kid, not anybody. Nature tells us that is that's a strange about the reality of this quantum physics. That is where strangeness comes there. So that is superposition. Entanglement is, I'm going to talk about a little bit about, so that's called Schrodinger's cat. That's a very famous uh, experiment. He did experiment on the cat is both dead and alive. That's very famous. People talk about it all the times. That's Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger is the Austrian physicist who gave the equations for this. This is a mathematically proven. John Bell proved it. In fact, these things communicate without no known communication. There's a magic exists between these two. That is, he proved it mathematically, in fact. So there is no influence there is non-locality, there's no influence of each other. The no known communication, that's what I'm saying. So the next one is, I don't know what, this computer is acting up a little bit strange, but I'm going to. So yeah, if you want, for example, if the light bulb, and I am giving another example of the quantum system. If you wanted to know this particular light, the light is connected to the light switch, you have to do on or an off. You have to do twice, right? In the quantum system, you don't have to touch anything. That's magic. It exists both one and zero, on and off are same. So that is the quantum system. It's a little bit strange, counterintuitive, and you don't get these ideas that. So quantum computers work on is bits called classical computers works on a 0 and 1, 0 and 1. Either one is on and off. In a quantum system, they work as a both is a 1 and 0 combined, is together. So that's the reason it can be act like a ghost and do all the calculations one time. A computer, the fastest computer, takes 1,000 years. Quantum computer can do in 1 hour. The fastest computer on Summit Computer in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, can do a calculation for it takes one year or 100 years, 1,000 years. It takes less than 30 minutes. It can do. Quantum computers can do because it does all possible paths magically. That is the strangest thing about it. So these people won the Nobel Prize for this experimentally. They verified this thing. It's called the Einstein used to call spooky action at distance. They verified it. Now you can send these quantum particles into different, even across the ocean now. So there is a big thing going on right now. There is a lot of everybody wants to be in the game. IBM, Microsoft, Google, Intel, everybody is trying to get into this game because there's a lot of money, because you can solve a lot of problems. But that's IBM computers. That's a Google computers is one of the deep mind. So the what is the advantage of the advantage of the quantum computers? Now we know the numerical data. I know the numbers games, but we don't know the qualitative data. That's just too much. Qualitative data means when you see something, you love somebody, you love something at certain scenes. These are the qualitative data. We don't collect them. That is, quantum computer can handle that kind of a qualitative data. So numerical data plus quantitative data is combined in the quantum computers. That's the only way you can get the both data. So what it means is understanding you. Qualitative data and numerical data, if they combine them together, it is called quantum natural language processing. It is understanding you. It's truly computer is understanding you. It is the concepts and relationships. That's our human brain works on the concepts and relationships. It understands that part of it. That's the quantum computers. So that is, we are coming there. AI, artificial intelligence, and the quantum computer. If you combine them together, one day it becomes you. It understands your qualitative, when you feel love, when you feel hate, when you feel anger, frustration. All of them are qualitative analysis it can do. It's not there. We're not there yet, but working on it. We are very close. So the thing is that then one, but there is a strange thing. There is a problem with the quantum computers. They're always struggle with. It's called error correction. Means quantum states are very delicate. It has to be low temperatures. If you just a small change, you can change the system. If you change the system, it is useless. It's so any influence, temperature influence, any outside influence of the quantum system is a decoherence. They call it is going to mess it up. To fix that problem, we need a really with the quantum state, to maintain the quantum state. You need to fix that problems. Keep on fixing the problem of decoherence. Means the quantum state, preserve the quantum state. How do you preserve the quantum state? That is a huge challenge for the quantum computer people. But the universe came to rescue. Let me tell you what the universe came to rescue. We need the universe came all the way to rescue this problem. It is a black hole. Very interesting. A black hole entropy. The black hole is an amazingly. You saw Whitney Houston. There is a very strange. Only physicists understand that strange combination. I'm going to explain to you where is the Whitney Houston coming in the picture. Black holes are a anomaly of the space time. There's a massive amount of, that is like a hole. Actually a black hole, because we don't see anything. Once you go inside, a massive star collapses into a black hole, and then we cannot nothing comes out of it. That's why it's a black. Nothing comes out of it. We don't know what it is. What inside is gone. It's a black hole. Acts that is. But what we found out, there is a rule in quantum physics. You cannot lose information. I exist. Yana powers exist. These are all facts. You cannot wipe them out. But black hole can do that. But that's a no-no in big problem in big no-no in quantum physics. So what they did was, so Whitney Houston actually, I tell you why I'm talking about Whitney Houston. There was a tour after Whitney Houston died. Actually, I met her a few times, in fact, in Atlanta. Whitney Houston died. They made a holographic tour of Whitney Houston 2020, just before pandemic. They canceled it actually. So the really she comes out of the on the stage, looks like 100% Whitney Houston. Is a Whitney Houston holographic tour, and then that hologram and the black hole, the combination of that physics is going to solve some of the major problems we are having in health. cancer drugs, diabetes cure, India, and scheduling problem we have. All these diseases, AIDS, and all these things that we need that universe has to help us. We got the physics from the black hole, holography, and then combination together, we made the quantum computer. Error correction is the error correction. I told you to preserve the state of the quantum state. We need error correction. Error correction is coming from the black hole. Think about that. A universe billion, trillion miles away, billions of miles away. A black hole is giving you physics that we understand. The physics of the black hole is we may apply to cure diseases. It is is a hologram through holography is the new method. So this is this we all connects all together. Universe has a very power way of connecting all of them. Quantum computers, our health, doctors, all of them complexities. So we need a. It's not a suits versus scrubs. Actually, science with the people. That is the right way to do things. Science with the people. That is our future. We don't need to be. We are all humans. We need to work together and solve the problems of human problem. That is my goal. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to bring Anna back full time, and let us talk with her a little bit more. So Anna, what do you? So I run down a little bit. That let me delete it. Let me. I don't know how it works. Okay, let me bring this. Okay, give me 1 second. Yeah, I need to. Yeah, this is one. I have to hide it. They come. Okay. Yeah, now what do you think of it, Anna? It's just very different one. I presented it, right?
Yeah. I loved it. I loved how you were able to tie it all together. You know, we do have a lot of problems just from, like you were talking about, just scheduling in a hospital to um, just in all kinds of ways, whether it's like I saw in their insurance premiums and um, to be able to tap into the quantum world to solve our problems. Like it reminded me of on Star Trek with some of the healing tools that they had. You know, those were totally operating on quantum physics to be able to scan the body and determine what's going on with it without having to touch the body. Like I love that they were thinking quantum physics back in the 60s for that. So how you tied it all together was just brilliant, very impressive. And to be able to explain the quantum physics principles in diverse and simple ways
Yeah.
was just really awe inspiring.
Thank you. That's what that's one of the things is a lot of times people you need to be clear. One of the thing is your knowledge is a free knowledge is we have to give the knowledge. That's the only way humans can survive. Share the knowledge and work together. That's a big problem we have now. Everybody is on other side, you are the other side, and we came from the earth is rotating, the laws of physics. It doesn't care whether what color, what religion, what is all. It is rotating by itself, and then we all 100 years from now we all die, and then new people come up, new breed of humans come up. So we need to be really about it. The brain is the only way I feel that I'm a physicist, but still I feel sometimes I feel that next thing. I think brain has that a soul and a consciousness is it remains, and it keeps moving into that's my feeling. I'm not proving it to you. I don't have the mathematics to prove it, but I feel that the consciousness exists, and then we have that universal consciousness that we all share. I think that is the you're tapping into and helping people. At the end of the day, you're helping people. Tell us your where do you so what is your goal, and what do you do with the patients that you are trying to help a lot of people? So that's a really we need a integrative medicine is not against the medical field. They should not be. And it is a complementary medicine. It's not a it's a complementary. You can do all together. It doesn't need to be go against the traditional medicine or for the traditional medicine. They should not do either. That's one thing American Medical Association, they have done for a long time, and they paid a price. So they need to be understanding humans a little bit better, because that they're advocating the people, not the pharmaceutical companies, not the device companies. They need to advocate people, advocacy of people. That's a doc. The doctors should be advocacy. They advocate. They are the true advocates of the patients. So you're talking about patients' health. So I'm truly excited that you do neurofeedback, and that you do the quantitative analysis of the electroencephalograph brain. It is really a new field, the frontier. So my son is a neuroscientist, actually, from Vanderbilt. One day I will connect with you. He lives in Atlanta, in fact. Both of you should talk together. Actually, Ursula knows him. But tell us a little bit about your services that you offer, Anna.
Okay. Um, just as you were speaking about what doctors provide and what healers provide, we provide the vision of what's possible for our patients, right? We provide the tools to help them get from where they are, a state of dis-ease, to ideally health in some way. And that to me is kind of the Schrodinger's cat. In a way, you have a sick patient and a healthy patient. And for me, I visualize and I hold that space for every patient to be healthy. I see them healthy. I treat them as if they are healthy, that they're symptom free. Um, and I feel like that gives them hope. I try to give them examples of people who have already overcome what they're trying to overcome. So I read and I am aware. I mean, it's not necessarily people I've met personally, but a lot of people share their journeys now through books and podcasts. So I try to share that. And then you asked me, how do I help people day to day? Correctly? That was the
Yeah,
question?
what is it? Yeah, that's basically, yeah. Your website is longevityhealth.com, right? That is
Yes.
where people can reach you.
Yes. So there we provide a lot of services. We've spoken tonight about Brain Map, which shows us what's going on in the brain, and neurofeedback, which helps change those brain waves and basically helps calm the nervous system and enable it to function in a more optimal state. And you'll see on the website longevityhealth.com that we do a lot of other services too. So just from some basic therapies to from sauna, we have a ton of things so that you can look at it there. But I think that kind of gives you an idea. We're looking at the whole person, and we have a lot of different ways that we help enable people to heal. And it's whether it's through neurofeedback or nutrition or supplements or homeopathics or infrared sauna or fit baths or acupuncture and thermography. We do a lot of things there. It's a great healing center. We've been around. The clinic was started 45 years ago, and it was just recently transferred to the original owner's daughters. So it's a new generation to create even more health, and we are able to work with people from all over the country. So even if you don't live in Atlanta, you can call and talk about what you're dealing with, and we can see if we can help or at least point you in the right direction.
Impressive, Anna. Thank you for coming in the last minute. You accommodated for me. Thank you so much. I'm truly honored and privileged to have you. It's wonderful to talk with you. It is actually, so I wanted to ask you last question. What do you do? How do you relax? What do you do for relaxation? You go to the Blue Ridge Mountains? What do you do go to relax?
Yeah, that's funny. It's funny because it's like, I really love what I do. Like it's my passion, it's my hobby. So I love to, like, if I'm going to sit down and read a book, it's going to be about my field. If I go to a lot of weekend workshops. But of course, I love spending time with my husband and my dog, and we go on fun dates, and go around Georgia to look at new things, new sites. Um, Being with friends and family is really what feeds my soul as well. And so my parents are in their 80s or close to 80s, and so I try to spend as much time with them as well, because to me every moment with them is just a treasure, and I'm not going to take that for granted. Uh, so kind of simple. I don't play pickleball or those types of things. I make sure to I go to meditations with friends and things like that. But
Don't-
it's kind of boring life.
It's not a boring life, but don't forget to go and visit Ghost Hotel in Savannah, Georgia, where you're from. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna Powers. Anna Powers. She's a naturopathy doctor. She's a wonderful. She gave us a very rundown of both the brain and everything. Thank you all. Thank you for joining. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Telling their stories through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it.